Well, thank you, Jeff, and to distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and most importantly, the Australian Defence Force members, both currently serving and our veterans. I pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land, and on this most solemn of occasions, I'd like to acknowledge the service of our Aboriginal brothers and sisters in conflicts throughout our nation's history and their continuous service today. Ladies and gentlemen, this week I had the privilege to be in Afghanistan and other parts of the Middle East in my role as the Parliamentary Secretary for Defence. And there are walls at the Australian headquarters in Kabul and also at other bases which carry the photographs of the 43 Australians who have died on deployment to that region over the past decade. They join the 102,000 other Australian servicemen and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice throughout our nation's history. And even today, as we commemorate the centenary of Anzac, Australian and New Zealand forces are standing side by side in Baghdad, in Kabul, and in the skies above the Middle East, working together again. This time to train and support local forces in the fight against Daesh and the Taliban. So as we pause today to remember the original Anzacs, I urge everyone gathered here today and at similar ceremonies across our nation and indeed throughout the world to also pause and remember our modern day warriors and peacekeepers. Young men and women drawn together from all corners of Australia and New Zealand to serve our nations again. As we tuck ourselves into bed tonight, safe in the knowledge that no harm will come to our families, spare a thought for them and a prayer if you're so inclined for almost 2,000 Australians currently serving on deployments throughout the world in places like Kabul, Kandahar and Baghdad. In places where the summer temperatures may scorch above 45 degrees Celsius and winter temperatures plummet below freezing, some will be sleeping in tents, others will be in prefabricated huts or dormitories with bunks and precious little privacy. But regardless of where they sleep, they'll be away from their families and their loved ones. I ask you to pray for their safety, to pray for the people they are trying to protect, to pray that their missions are completed successfully and they return as soon as possible to the arms of those they love. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was in Kabul, I thanked the troops on your behalf and told them we're proud of them and we supported them and we wish them all well. I told them there was no greater service that anyone can give to Australia than to put on the nation's uniform, put on the uniform of the nation they love and place themselves in harm's way to help those who can't help themselves. That was true in 1915 and it's true in 2015. We don't seek to glorify war by gathering here today, but we do commemorate the sacrifice and the extraordinary service of so many young Australian men and women along with our New Zealand allies. I actually wrote my speech notes aboard an Australian K-130 aircraft high above the mountains and valleys of Afghanistan where many of those 43 young Australian men and women lost their lives. And as I looked around at the young faces on that plane, I couldn't help but think about the other young faces on the pictures on the walls, those who didn't come home. They were all someone's son, someone's brother, someone's husband, someone's boyfriend, or someone's father. We can never bring them back, but we can make sure they're never forgotten. We can't fulfil the promise of their young lives cut short, but we can honour them by the way we choose to live our lives. Just think about that when you pause in a few moments' time to pay your respects to the fallen. Think about what others have given us to allow us to enjoy the safety and freedom we have today. Our tribute to the fallen, to the original Anzacs and to 102,000 people killed in countless conflicts is the manner in which we live our lives today. Our world is being challenged by people who would seek to do us harm, and the enduring values that the Anzacs demonstrated and fought to protect are as important today as ever before. A commitment to peace, freedom and fairness, a determination to protect the innocent, the courage and adventurous spirit to travel to far-off lands and help others, the bonds of mateship and comradeship, to stand together in hard times, the resilience, the perseverance and dedication to duty. These are all values and personal attributes our nation needs from us today. This is what Anzac Day means to me. I take it as a personal challenge to ask myself, am I worthy of the sacrifice that others have made? Am I honouring the people who have given so much and are still serving our nation's Defence Force today? Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, they've shown us the way, now it's up to us. Today as Gippslanders, as Australians, we honour the Anzacs and we must commit ourselves to respecting their enduring legacy, lest we forget.